Welcome back to the green room, y'all. This is where we talk about what most people scroll past, but can't stop thinking about. Of course, I'm your host, Chris. So let's start with the moment everyone's been talking about. Taylor Swift's new album just dropped, y'all. And as usual, the internet went nuclear. Within hours, people were dissecting lyrics, guessing which ex each song was about, arguing whether she's brave for being vulnerable or too sensitive and petty. But here's what I find very fascinating. Every time she tells a personal story, it seems like cultures reveal its own. What I mean by that is we say we love authenticity, but the minute someone expresses pain in public, we call it attention seeking. We say we want truth until it touches something we don't want to talk about and we don't really want to face. Now, let me be clear. This episode is not about Taylor Swift at all. It's about what her moment has shown us and what it shows us about a generation that feels deeply, but sometimes struggle to balance their emotions that comes with it. And they don't know how to balance the emotion with resilience. So the question here that's going to be the topic today is, are we too sensitive or are we finally learning to care? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's get right into it. Every generation has its label. Think about it. You got the boomers, they were too traditional. You got Generational X, they're too rebellious. Then you got the millennials, where we're too emotional. Then you got the Gen Zs that are too sensitive. We see this online every day. How, you may ask? Someone shares a thought and instantly is either applauded or attacked. We confuse having a voice with needing a reaction. But here's the truth, y'all. This sensitivity didn't come from nowhere. It's a reaction to decades of being told to just suck it up. Don't cry. Just be strong. But now in days, we've swung completely the opposite way. We speak our truth loudly, but sometimes we do that without even listening. The goal isn't to hide emotion or to glorify it. We need to know how we should steward the emotions that we have. Because real strength is feeling deeply, but the key there is you have to respond wisely. Now, let's talk about this cultural shift. If you grew up being told to bury your pain, you've learned to suppress it really well. But as we see today, this generation, they're digging it back up through whether it's therapy, music, or just having conversation and having an open dialogue. That's a beautiful correction. But somewhere in between healing and hovering, we started to confuse feeling everything with understanding everything. Let's think about it. A lyric drops and we immediately decide who's wrong and who's toxic. A post that offends us, so we decide to unfollow this person. A conversation hurts, so we cancel. Sensitivity without accountability turns into self-protection. I would like to think that this response, it's a reaction to avoid pain instead of reflecting to learn from it. No shocker here. I believe in Jesus, and Jesus showed us another way. He felt deeply, but he also stood firmly. He cried with Mary and Martha, but he also flipped tables in the temple. Compassion and conviction can coexist. And that's the balance that we're missing in our feeds and, more importantly, in our faith. Now, let's pull it back to the digital age. Algorithms reward reaction. The quicker and louder you respond, the more visibility that you're going to get. If you notice, it's trained us to speak before we think. We scroll past hundreds of stories a day, so our emotions are already on overdrive. And that's why we get offended fast. Our hearts are already exhausted. We've also started valuing validation over transformation. We don't want to be corrected. We don't want, we want to be comforted. But truth that never challenges you, it sure can't change you. Sensitivity should build bridges, not walls. It's meant to make us more empathetic, not entitled. Now, I'm going to ask you this. What if we used that same energy we spent on reactions for reflections? I'm going to be real with you for a second. I've had moments where someone left a comment on a video or a post. I'm not going to lie, it got to me. I started drafting responses in my head, and it wasn't to understand, but it was to defend me. But then for a brief moment after that, I had to ask myself, am I upset because they're wrong or because they might be right? That moment right there taught me something about maturity. It's not how fast you react, y'all. It's how long you reflect before you do. If I can't take constructive criticisms without crumbling, that clearly shows that I'm not strong. Indeed, it actually shows how fragile I am. And if I can't speak truth without compassion, that doesn't make me honest. That just makes me harsh. And that really is why I love doing this show, y'all. Because the green room isn't about being right. It's about getting real. Now, of course, with all of this comes the framework of faith. I'm going to take y'all to the Bible where in Matthew, Jesus says, blessed are the meek. I'm going to emphasize meek, M-E-E-K. He didn't mean blessed are the weak. And if I need a definition to understand what meek is, meekness is power under control. It's the ability to feel deeply, but you act wisely. And to be honest, that's what all of our generations need. We need emotional discipline that's anchored in grace. I'm going to use a scripture that's real close to me. Ephesians 4:15 says, "He should speak the truth in love. Truth without love is cruel. Love without truth is empty." So you say, in other words, sensitivity without spiritual grounding can easily drift into self-worship. So I'm going to ask you another question here. What if we brought our sensitivity to God first, before we brought it to the timeline? The answer there is we respond out of peace instead of pain. Now, hopefully this has challenged you. So the next time something that offends you, you take a pause and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me about my own heart? If you're called too sensitive, maybe that means you still care in a world that's gone numb. But don't let that feeling control you. Let it shape you. Growth isn't found in hiding from emotion or being owned by it. It's found in the space where truth and grace, they both meet. Now, I would say this has been a great day, and this has been the Green Room. I'm going to challenge you. If this has made you think, share it. Please tag me. Start the conversations. Looking forward to the dialogue. And the question of the week is, do you think our generation is too sensitive or just finally feeling what others never could? You know, you can find the Green Room on YouTube, Spotify, but until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, but most importantly, stay real. Peace.